Okay, so welcome everybody to our faculty chat for the evening. My name is Jennifer Franco. I'm the Vice Chair for Undergraduate Education here for the Immunology and Medical Microbiology undergraduate program. If you guys are going to be meeting with people for open houses about becoming a prospective student, you often end up talking to me. And one of the things that I often do is brag a lot about our faculty that we have in our program and how great they are. So one of the things that we wanted to do today was basically introduce you to some of those faculty and let you see, you know, how interactive they are with our students and how much they care about their students, and basically get an idea of who you'll be taught by whenever you're actually here at the university if you pick to go to WVU. So a couple things I wanted to make sure that we covered before we got into a meeting and talking with the faculty themselves is that if you actually don't know what the Immunology and Medical Microbiology program is, I wanted to introduce it a little bit. I'm assuming that if you're visiting our page that you're actually are on top of this already. But what I often see is students often know what medical microbiology is, and meaning that this is going to be the study of microscopic organisms, things like bacteria and fungus and viruses that are going to end up causing disease. In particular, that's the medical part of this. But oftentimes students don't necessarily know what the immunology part of things are. So when we're talking about the immunology, we're talking about the study of the immune system, which is basically the system of our body that's going to protect us from infectious disease. Or from foreign things that aren't necessarily supposed to be there. Most of the time we're talking about infections by these particular microorganisms that cause disease in us. But we can also think about what happens when the immune system malfunctions, and it might end up targeting our own cells, so you get things like autoimmunity, or you might think about it not working properly and you can end up developing things like cancer. So although our program talks a lot about microbiology and the mechanisms by which these bacteria and viruses and fungi end up causing disease, we also focus a lot on how the immune system ends up fighting these things and how malfunction can end up causing its own pathology itself. This is obviously really important, or has become really important over the past year as the development of the pandemic has happened. So we're thinking a lot about viruses, we're thinking a lot about the immune system and how the study of the microbiology and the immunology sectors influence public health and our health as a whole as humans. So it's really something that is important, and has, you know, our program's unique in that a lot of other programs, shouldn't necessarily say programs, but when we start thinking about where you want to be going to school, a lot of other universities don't have programs that will focus specifically on these two different topics. You might have a focus on microbiology, but you really don't have many programs to choose from that are going to give you this broad coverage of both immunology and microbiology fields of study. So some things that we end up talking about when we're thinking about our program is that if you really want to study immunology and microbiology, we're one of a few different programs in the surrounding areas, actually in the United States, that end up studying both the immunology and microbiology parts. Our particular program is located in the Department of Microbiology, Immunology, and Cell Biology at WVU, which is in our School of Medicine here in the Health Science Center campus. So a lot of the faculty that you're going to be taught by are going to end up being faculty that teach in our program as well as in the med school and in the dental school here in the Health Science Center. So you would end up seeing this slide for me if we were doing an open house or something, or if we were meeting one-on-one to talk about the program. And I'm not going to go through all these points today, but what I want to focus on is really things that make us unique, and the fact that I think that our faculty really contribute to the uniqueness of our program and the quality training that you would get here as a student. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to talk a little bit to four, I guess there's three other faculty members in the program with me today. We're going to talk to them a little bit about some of the research, some of their experience as faculty in our program, and basically thinking about how these faculty, contribute to your success or will contribute to your success in your future careers, not only in the classroom, but oftentimes due to their dedication, their training opportunities that they provide you outside of the classroom. So what I have here is your technical plan of study that you would usually have if you became a student within our program. What I want you to focus on is that all these red classes are going to be classes that you would take here on the Health Science Center campus that is part of our major. And this is the people that you're going to end up meeting today and when you're going to end up seeing them. So Dr. Barbier is going to be teaching bacterial genetics. You'll end up meeting her your junior year. Dr. Wan teaches cellular immunology, which you would be taking your second semester of your junior year. And Dr. Martinez and myself will end up seeing you as seniors in the program. He teaches virology, and I end up covering your senior capstone course, where it's a grant writing course as well as a scientific integrity course for you. So what my thought is now is that I'm going to have our faculty end up introducing themselves to you, and I'm going to have them tell you a little bit about themselves, what they actually do teach in their classes, a little bit about their research, and then we'll come back and we'll ask them a few other questions about their experience teaching here and what they enjoy and don't enjoy, what they find most rewarding and that type of thing. So I'm going to stop sharing right now so we can look at all of us on one screen here. And I'm going to direct, who wants to go first with the question? Who wants the first question on here?
You pick, Jen.
You talked first.
No, you pick.
You get to go first. So Dr. Wan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your lab, and the classes that you teach here at WVU?
Sure.
Okay, remember there's 4 of us. So all scientists like to talk. So try to keep it succinct.
Okay, Edwin Wan. I was trained as an immunologist. I teach, as Jen said, I teach cellular immunobiology in the junior class, and the class is about how to apply your knowledge that you learn from basic immunology course into a disease setting. So we cover topics, not only infectious disease, but also autoimmune diseases, transplantations, immunodeficiency, and cancer immunology. So myself, my lab is mainly studying neuroimmunology. So what that means is how your immune system affects different neurological diseases, and the disease models that I use now is, one of them is ischemic stroke, because stroke actually can induce inflammations, and that inflammations actually exacerbates the brain damage after stroke. And so if we can manipulate these inflammations, we may help the patients to recover faster. And another disease model that we do is multiple sclerosis. You may not be very familiar with this. Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease. That means your immune system actually attacks your own body, in this case, your central nervous system. So if you like to learn more, I'm happy to talk more. I can probably talk 5 hours on this.
I believe that too.
Okay.
Dr. Barbier,
next person.
Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So my name is Mary Barbier, and as Dr. Franco mentioned, I teach microbial genetics that you guys will get in your junior year, the fall of your junior year. And this class is about bacterial genomes and how those are structured, how gene expression is regulated. And I try to put this in context with bacterial virulence, the spread of antibiotic resistance and so forth. And for you guys to understand, what is behind toxins and virulence factors and all those things that help bacteria cause infections and be virulent. So this is, we go anywhere from the DNA at the DNA level into messenger RNA, into protein, and sort of touch on all those things. In terms of my lab, I basically work on primarily bacterial pathogenesis with an application to vaccine development. So I use what I know and have learned in terms of microbial genetics to think about what bacteria do during infection, to try to think about what antigens should we select to generate vaccines. I do this work with 3 different pathogens right now. One that is called Pseudomonas aeruginosa, which causes pneumonia in patients that are immunocompromised. I also study about Bordetella pertussis, which causes whooping cough, and then Borrelia burgdorferi, which is the causative agent of Lyme disease. So what we do is use genetics to identify antigen, then generate vaccines and test them in animal models at the preclinical levels. I've worked with undergrads from this program since I started at WVU, and really, really enjoy working with you guys. And so I'm looking forward to working with some of you and showing you what you can do in the lab.
Dr. Martinez?
Oh, there you go. Hello. Hi, guys. So, yeah, my name is Ivo Martinez. I'm the virologist. I'm going to be teaching virology in your senior year. And as you know, I'm pretty sure everybody right now is very savvy about viruses because of the pandemic we have in this moment. But I teach virology in general. All viruses is all clinical virology. So all the viruses that can cause human diseases. So we start from what is a virus to like separate in between, you know, DNA viruses or RNA viruses, meaning that they have different genomes and what type of diseases they are involved, and so on. So that's really the majority of my class is just focusing on different viruses and what kind of diseases they are causing, what type of treatments exist for some of them don't. You know, I'm sure you guys hear about vaccinations and therapeutics. So we go through all that stuff. And of course, there's one class that is we talk, and actually now I got to increase it to 2 classes to be talking about coronaviruses, because I'm pretty sure everybody wants to know more about them. So that's my class, what I do. So I'm really a molecular biologist, just like Mariette. But my excuse to study things in my lab is looking at non-coding RNAs. So these RNAs that was not until recently we discovered them, like 20-something years ago. No, less than that. But anyway, so these are important in so many diseases. And my laboratory actually is in the West Virginia University Cancer Institute, because a good chunk of my research is actually on cancer. And why I'm a virologist? Because I'm actually studying viruses that can cause cancer. So for example, human papillomavirus. So part of my lab is working with viruses that can cause cancer, but also we're looking at all the different types of cancers that are not related to infections, like lung cancer. And finally, of course, in the last few months, we are working with coronaviruses. So we are actually working in the biosafety level 3 facility. We are growing COVID-19, or also known as SARS-CoV-2. And we are starting a lot of projects and a lot of collaborations here in the university and outside university. And but at the end, we are, you know, very excited and very happy to help. And that's really that's part of my research.
Great, thank you guys. So I have a couple questions, and for I think that are kind of, I don't know, that I think students will be interested in. Right. So I just so that everybody out there, I gave them a series of questions that I said, oh, these might be the ones I asked. But I thought of a couple more today, so I'm going to put you on the spot. So one of the questions I have, and I think that this is one that I already gave you, was what do you guys think that really sets our immunology medical microbiology program apart from other programs that might be similar to it across the United States, or other majors here at WVU? Anybody can go on that.
I'll go. I'll take this one. I think that one of the things I like the most about this program is the really low faculty to student ratio. You know, the classes are small. You really get to know the students. We know everybody. We follow you guys from day one in the program to the day you graduate. And so this is something that I think is absolutely wonderful because it's very personalized and we really get to know you guys. In addition, I think it really provides opportunities that you wouldn't have otherwise. Most of the faculty are research faculty, which means that you get research opportunities around in the labs and so forth. And you have faculty that are really, really well versed on the topics that they're actually teaching in their classes. It's on the health sciences campus, so you're exposed to other professional programs, nursing, physical therapy, medical school, dental school, and so forth. So there's a lot of interactions with peers, with scientists, and I think overall it provides a set of opportunities that you guys could not get in a lot of other places.
Dr. Wan or Martinez, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I totally agree with Mariette. That's exactly what I wanted to say. I'll add a few points, such as I think having a small lab, a small size of class is fantastic. I basically know every student in my class in the past few years. And one thing I want to mention, because Dr. Franco's asked, so what distinguish us with other program, I can tell you one thing is a lot of time when you go to other big science program or even small science program, the first 2 years, you will get a lot of like basic science courses such as chemistry, biology, biochemistry, physics, okay? Here we do the same thing. However, what our program special is that from the first semester you are in there, here, you start to have lab. You start to have microbiology lab. You start to have immunology lab. So this cannot be done if you have 200 students in your program. So we try to make our program small so that we can provide lab sessions to you the first year when you are in our course, which is important, I think, because you don't need to wait until the third year. You start to learn more about, you know, the knowledge in immunology and microbiology the first year you are in the program. So I think this is very important because a lot of students I know, they got lost because the first 2 years they are naturally not learning something that they want to study. So I think that is a good thing that we can provide. And given that lab session is very expensive, the reagents that we use are extremely expensive. If we have a 100 people class, we're not able to provide this for you. So keep the size small is something that we insist to do. Even though if we recruit 100 students, we get more tuitions, but we don't do that.
And I think it's a good point. Sometimes we say that we're giving a private school education at a large state research university, right? Because we're able to actually interact with the students that we interact.
Yeah, and another thing, sorry, I want to mention is things that you learn here in our program is very focused, okay? If you go to biology program, when I was an undergrad student, I went to a biology program. So I learned, you know, biodiversity, okay? I learned environmental microbiology, something that actually I'm not very interested in because it's so diverse, right? And here in our program, we're very focused. What that means is you get more in-depth knowledge about microbiology and immunology. For example, in immunology, in our program, just immunology, we have 3 courses in immunology. So you have like more in-depth knowledge in the topic, maybe compared to other programs such as biology in general.
Yeah, a lot of people are lucky if they get one immunology class whenever they're a biology major at a different university. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. All right, if I have 2 more questions. Okay, so Dr. Martinez, I'm going to put you on the spot for this one since you didn't answer the last one. So as a faculty member in the program, what has been your most memorable or your most rewarding experience that you've had?
Oh my God, there's so many. It's hard to choose, to be honest, because I've been very lucky. And I think something that we have to clarify is our program has very good students. The bar that we put to accept students in our program is not low. So we know that everybody that goes in is a good student, is somebody that wants to learn. So we have so many, I have personally so many good experiences. I will say that the two main more rewarding experiences is that two students from this program actually joined my lab and work for several years, working on research and doing stuff. And from the very beginning, both students, they told me, I want to go to medical school. And when I look at them, how hard they work in the lab and how good they were with doing experiments, I start telling them, you know what, you have the ability to go and do an MD PhD, a double PhD, so a double doctorate in biomedical science and also in medical school. And I've been lucky enough that actually both of them apply and both of them actually got accepted to the MD PhD program. They are super, super hard to get, not only in WVU, but around the country. So that's one of the two things that I've been very, it's hard to say. I felt so gratified and so, proud of them because they actually able to achieve that.
Dr. Barbier or Dr. Wan on that one?
Sure, I have a number of similar experiences to Dr. Martinez on this. I remember one of the first IMMB student who worked in my lab coming to my office and being extremely proud to show me a letter of acceptance for graduate school. And so those are always, really, really impactful and meaningful moments in which you see that, all the hard work that they put into their degree and their extracurricular activities in terms of lab research and so forth have really paid off and enabled them to pursue what their dream really. So that's really exciting. And I guess the other thing is I don't like to miss the graduation ceremony that this program puts together at the end of the year. And I think this is one of the most special moments because we get to meet the families, we get to meet everybody, and it's the closure of a chapter. It's a very emotional moment usually for everyone. And all, the faculty, the entire program will show up for this. And it's a very, very, I don't know, emotionally charged moment in the year. And this is one of my favorite times.
Dr. Rand?
Yeah, I think same thing. Student success is, I think, is one of the most satisfactory experience I have here. And when students after your class send an email to you saying that, okay, your course is one of the best I have in WVU, that you did something good about the future of the students, or you did something that actually shaped the students in a good way. So I think that is good experience and feeling. I literally just received an email about an hour ago before this meeting. Is a student just emailed me telling me that he was just accepted to WVU medical school, and and he thanked for like resources and teaching. I mean, you feel okay, good. You will have a better future than me. So that is one thing that I feel good about it.
Yeah, and I would agree on that too, is that there's nothing more exciting to figure out or see a student figure out what they want to do with their life and be successful at pursuing whatever that thing's going to end up being. So I think that that's a really cool part of us. And I don't think that would necessarily be possible for us to have that connection if we were at a large university with large classes. Obviously, there would still be students getting into graduate school and medical school and that type of thing. but having that relationship with them, to be proud of them, and for them to be excited for them, I think is that relationship that we build is something that's really neat with them.
Yeah. One thing I want to add is we don't guarantee that every single student will be successful after finishing our program. We are just the helper. We are just the resources. Okay, it's still up to the students. What they achieve depends on how much effort, how much time they invest in it. So if they make good use of our program, our resources, our faculty, they can be successful. So so it's not necessarily everyone will go to like medical school or PhD or be successful. Not like that. It's not guaranteed. But we know everyone. We want everyone to be successful. So
well, I think that one thing that if you look at the stats from the program, though, most of our students have been successful in what they've wanted to do. It might not have been going to graduate school or medical school, but we have students that are working in obtaining organs for transplantation. We have students that are working as microbiologists at a pharmaceutical company. We have people that are working for the health departments doing COVID testing or HIV testing. You know, so I think that we have a wide variety of career options available, or we help create a wide variety of career options that are available to the students based upon what they want. And sometimes it's learning that they don't want to go to medical school, but they want to go into research, or they want to go into you know, some type of biomedical business type things, you know. And I think that that's really cool that we're here to support them in that.
Yeah, and another thing, just one more point that I want to add is, one good thing about our program, I think, is we have journal club. Okay, you don't have many programs that have undergraduate journal club. You can only do it if your faculty invest their time on that and you have a small class. What journal club means is we pick a paper, a student pick a paper every week, understand the research article, present, evaluate, learn science, but most importantly is learn how to critically evaluate the science within the paper. So it's maybe something is not only about the science, but also train you to think about it, think like a scientist. I think a lot of employer, no matter is science related or non-science related, they want students to be trained like a scientist, because scientists think in a different way.
Yeah, and I think that that's you know, you're not going to be doing a lot of textbook learning. We're reading state-of-the-art literature that was based upon state-of-the-art technology that's coming out, that's current, that is something that, you know, you might not necessarily get in another major or in another program, where we're actually not using a textbook, but using the actual primary literature of the experiments that are coming out at this point.
Actually, if I can add to this, in terms of career options and opportunities here, we've talked a lot about research, but there's a lot of things that this program can actually provide, and some of the newer internships that have been developed are around biosafety, for example, which is so relevant these days, or some that are about instrumentation, and you guys can get to play with toys that are, you know, high tech, you know, top of the line flow cytometers and so forth, and learn how to use them, understand how scientists and people with this type of degree can also help researchers and help in analysis labs and so forth. And I'm sure Dr. Franco can add more to this in terms of those additional sort of training and career opportunities. But it's not just research, it's not just medical school. We also provide other types of training opportunities.
Yeah, so there are some, we have some, we call them professional field experiences, where you can learn how to maintain equipment, like in our microscopic imaging facility. We have that you can learn how to use those fluorescent microscopes, and how you can use microscopes that can do live animal imaging and that type of thing. Because a lot of times those are really high-tech technology that as an individual scientist, you might not necessarily learn all the bells and whistles of it yourself, but you would go to somebody that has mastered those skills and ask them for your help in it in these core facilities. And basically, we would be teaching you, by participating in those, you would be learning the bells and whistles so that you can help scientists do their projects. So we do that with the microscope imaging facility, as well as with the flow cytometry facility, where we provide some of those in-depth training for people that might be interested, not necessarily doing bench research themselves, but helping those that are going to do bench research do this, their science in those core facilities. Okay, so the only other thing that I had, and I think we kind of touched on this on a lot of things, was what do you think about the program actually best prepares students? That might be wrapped up into a lot of the stuff that we already said, but maybe we can use that as maybe our closing remarks for the presentation this evening.
I think overall, the amount of hands-on experience that is included in this program is extremely, extremely impactful in terms of training you for the next step of your career. You guys, because it's a small program, you guys will be able to play with a lot of things that nobody else in large programs could. We have electives that are very unique. For example, there's an elective in vaccinology in which you actually get to vaccinate mice and dissect them and process samples and follow everything that happens from immunization to challenge. And so I think personally for me, as a student, when I was an undergraduate student, having hands-on experience really gave meaning to the training that I received. And so I think for me, it is the most meaningful part of this particular program.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Mariette. I think one of the things that really put us on the spot, and also Edwin mentioned, was that having a small group and the students being able to interact with professors that are actually experts in the field, and also go to a laboratory, and not only to learn a technique, but really do research that could be actually published, that can be peer reviewed, and be part of that, I think is so meaningful. And we, you know, in all laboratories that we have at WVU, we have top-notch not only experience but also technology. And you know, we in all these labs, and it's particularly my lab, you know, we can clone, we can put genes inside, we can take out genes, we can use CRISPR-Cas9, we can use so many technologies to manipulate the genomes and stuff that a lot of us as researchers, we have also interactions with other professors from other universities that give us also the idea of, you know, no, we are at WVU and we are doing top research that these students could potentially be involved in and participate.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Mariette and Yvonne said. The WVU is the only place that I teach in my career. But I truly think that the program is excellently designed. And so when you see a students the first day they're here, like freshmen, and you see how white they are, I mean, in the knowledge of immunology and microbiology. And at the end, after 4 years, you see, you know, how good they are prepared for the future, whatever they do. You know that, you know, this program really, you know, prepare them well for whatever they want to do in the field. So I'm really, really happy with the program, and I mean that I think the alumni may speak more on that. It's more convincing other than a faculty to speak about that.
So I'm going to thank you guys for all of your time. And I'm going to let everybody else know that we have another one of these planned with our alumni students who are doing some other things right now. So some alumni that are MD, PhD students, some that are PhD students, some that are working in biotechnology type fields. We basically have picked some of our alumni that are doing different things, so we can kind of ask them what the program did to help them get where they are now, training wise. So what do they think was most beneficial? So we know what we think, right? But we'll see what they end up saying whenever we have this similar meeting with those guys. But thank you guys very much for your time. You know, we look forward to seeing our new rounds of students who we're going to be educating in the future. And we hope that you know, some of you that are out there viewing this now are going to be interested in coming and being part of our program and working with us in our labs, and, you know, making a contribution to the health to society in general after your time here at WVU. So